it's been a while, right?
Oh my God. Well, anyway, I should be good at these, and clearly
This is so cool, by the way. I love
it. It's fun.
It's just good. It's good to see all of your faces.
That's the thing. It's good to see you guys. I know for sure.
Oh wait, hang on. Let me mute. Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay. Here we are. I finally figured it out. We have the most amazing guests on this week. We have Wendi Lynn Makeup. You should trademark that, Wendi.
I know.
Wendi Lynn Makeup.
Maybe.
Has done all sorts. Has done what, like Heroes, Extant, Agents of Shield from season 2.
Feels like forever.
And now you're on a blissful island
far
away.
Tahiti.
I know, so far away. You guys are too far away, both of you.
I know. Thank you for being here. And Brian Patrick Wade, the very same. Yes. Carl Creel. I'd forgotten how amazing this episode was. Watching it, I was just like, oh my God, that's when we fell in love with you as a person and also a character. But it was just, it's such a fun episode because so many characters are introduced. And it was the first one you worked on too, right, Wendi? This
was my first one with you guys. So I was like, what did we get ourselves into? Holy cow. Yeah. I remember me and Lori going, what is going on?
Yeah. So many characters in it. And Zachary and I are reunited.
Yes.
We've been
and matching.
We're matching. I know. Poor Zach. Look, he's even got the trousers on.
Oh, nice.
What a man. What a good man. So let's press play because I want 2 layers. Because otherwise I'll just chat away. So
okay.
I'll do a countdown. Ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, play.
Okay, here we go.
Also, I usually have a clock that counts to where we are, but it's a long story, but basically it's in a warehouse in Atlanta. And we're in Indiana. Our staff is in LA and some is in England.
Where are you guys?
We're in Indiana right now.
Just today, Brian, just today.
Yeah, just for the next
They're everywhere.
We're going to move back in with Zach's parents.
Back into my parents' basement.
We're going back in the basement for a few weeks. In the basement. Yeah. So, why don't we just lie on this couch and have a therapy session?
Exactly.
And Maggie, where's Maggie? Where's Maggie?
Yeah.
And is she,
by the way?
And not dressed like you for the occasion.
She's not dressed. Sure. I know. People ask me if we're going to do.
Oh, Maggie.
At the end of this, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of the new merch website. So I'm going to do a little window on this Zoom, but there are no dogs clothes. The merch goes live on Tuesday, so I'm giving you a sneak peek.
Okay.
Right. So on my bit, we're in the flashback with old casual Agent Carter there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wendi, was this high pressure to get Agent Carter and it all be secret and then have to?
It was, especially for us all starting into this with you guys, because we were trying to catch on to everything that was happening and just get in the whole entire realm of all of it. It was a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. That episode was, that first day we were like, oh my goodness, running around.
There's so much in it and so much establishing.
So much. I remember, having several things happen with creating mustaches and all kinds of things that we weren't ready for. Oh my God. Yeah. So anyways, it was all very surprising, but it kept us on our toes. It made it fun. And we were like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Was Carter going yet? Were they on because they filmed on a couple stages down?
I feel like, I don't know if they were going yet, actually. I feel like not, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so either. No, I can't remember.
I feel like not, but I can't remember. We'd have to.
Yeah, because I know at one point we spoke to her about, but that might have been at conventions or something. Can't remember. Because you guys had just come from doing Extant on the same lot, right?
Right.
Oh
so you were kind of used to sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, me and Lori have been a team for a long time. My department head, Lori Madrigal, we were a team for a long time, years. And so, yeah, sci-fi was kind of our thing. We always landed sci-fi. We're like, oh my gosh, just give us a comedy. But
Yeah.
anyways, a lot of work. I mean, you know, it kept us on us to, we were challenged all the time. So we had a lot of fun. I mean, with all the different characters we got to do, honestly, we've had such a good ride with all of these things. It just was, you know, it's overwhelming, especially when you're jumping into it and you don't know anything about the sci-fi world. So it was a little, but
yeah.
You know.
And you were kind of head of being, well, this is my view of it, head of like, you know, the prosthetics and alien-y stuff. Obviously RJ did a lot of it too, but I feel like you established so much specifically with Carl Creel and like body art and body painting. And...
I mean, yeah, I think in the beginning I was kind of on that road, and then we just got so busy. It just became more of RJ's thing to kind of take over in that whole department. But yeah, I started out that way. I was, you know, and again, Brian, I mean, I think that's why me and Brian hit it off so well, because, you know, I shaved off part of his beard. I won't tell anybody that. Anyways, we definitely clicked because, yeah, we had to like just jump in and do it, you know, and it was so fun. It was so much fun. I loved doing his stuff. And then, you know, come full circle more towards our episodes where he came into play at other times, you know, I kind of had to step back because I wasn't allowed to do as much, thanks to Mark Kolpak.
I know.
But it was super fun. It was super fun. He took all my fun away. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, kind of in the beginning, a little bit of this and that. So.
And then, Brian, with you, how much did they tell you? Because you and Wendy, as you...
Can you go through the whole process, Brian, of like how, when you got the audition, where was it? Was it on tape? Did you go in? Like, can you lead us through it?
Yeah. Great questions, actually. As Jen.
Flying here real quick.
Yeah.
We should get you a little microphone.
Yeah, when I got the audition, it was, obviously I knew what show it was for, but it was, the sides weren't Carl Creel sides, nor did they say who the character was. So I had no idea who I was auditioning for. And the audition went great. I think I only went in once, and
wow.
And then got the job, and then that's when they told me who I'd be playing. And of course, I wasn't a comic book guy, so I had no idea.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, of course, right away when I found out that I was playing Carl Creel, I, you know, Googled him and learned everything that I could, and to find out that he was an original like Stan Lee creation, and that he's been a primary villain for 4 decades, you know, prior in the comic books. And his main nemesis is like Thor and the Incredible Hulk. And,
yeah, no pressure.
Right? I mean, it's like a huge character, huge villain. And
we need a separate movie for.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Throw that out there.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, when I finally, you know, figured out who he was and who I was going to get to play, it was super exciting. I couldn't wait. And then, you know, to see him come to life on this screen, especially with the special effects that they used, it was just so cool, especially in this episode. I mean, so much cool stuff happened.
Yeah. So talk us through that. When Carl Creel, when he touches a material, you can kind of morph into that and take on its properties, right?
Yeah, so his whole backstory was Carl was an incredible athlete. He was a boxer in real life, but he was a 2-bit criminal as well. So he subsidized his boxing career with kind of, you know, petty crime, petty theft. But he was also a really, really strong individual. So he was very strong, but then he had this whole run-in with Tatiana and the Marvel universe, who transformed him into this. It was actually with Loki. That's how Carl Creel became Carl Creel. The Crusher Creel he became Absorbing Man from Loki.
Oh my gosh, absolutely no idea.
Yeah,
we need to get you on Loki TV show.
Yeah. So Loki
you wouldn't tell us.
Finds out who Carl the Crusher Creel is, you know, gets banished from Thor and his world, right? Comes down to America, finds this guy, sees his strength, his incredible strength already, but knows that he can be turned into whatever for, you know, a little bit of cash. So Loki gives him this potion, which turns him into Absorbing Man, basically is how all this unfolds. And so yeah, Loki gives him this potion, he turns into Absorbing Man and then becomes this character where whatever he touches, he's able to absorb that material and turn his skin into that material, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's really, really cool.
It is really neat.
Superpower.
I mean, what like a day in the office to go, oh, I've got this audition. Oh, awesome, I booked it. Oh my gosh, I'm this character. Let me give it a Google. What?
Right. I mean, this whole world, and this character's so intertwined in the Marvel world from the villain side. It's just, there's just so much material out there on him to read. It's really fascinating.
Did you get like how do you do that balance? And kind of same for you, Wen, of like how obviously we don't have very much time shooting this TV show in particular, you know, that how much do you walk that line of, you know, knowing everything you can, but then also just going, well, this is my version and we've got to shoot this tomorrow, so I, you know, do I get sleep or do I read 10 more comics, or like how did you balance that?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was interesting because once I kind of did my initial research, it was really in the writing that kind of led me down the path that I went, which was they really took Creel away from the comic book where he was just a hardcore villain.
Yeah.
Because you'll see in a couple episodes, you know, in that I kind of flip and I hang out with you guys some and then I flip back. And so the writing helped a lot with that. So I didn't really have to do much research past the initial, like, finding out who he was. So I knew where he came from and kind of that backstory. And then really just kind of play him. It was neat because I got to play this guy, I feel like, with a little bit of heart.
Yeah.
Where in the comics, he didn't really have much of that. So he didn't really have much of a conscience or anything like that. And in S.H.I.E.L.D., I really, really appreciated and loved that they gave him that color. Where Talbot and I kind of became buddies and I looked out for his son. And that was really fun to play. Instead of just like kind of one note, like criminal, you know.
Yeah, more storyline in there for sure.
Yeah. It's amazing that they could see you do all that in just one round of auditions. I mean, you must have just, I wish Mo and Jed were on here.
Yeah, did you know it was going to be a recurring, I mean, obviously it was huge, but. No.
They said it was just I believe in the audition, it was just a guest star for that episode. A guest star possible recurring, I think is what it said.
Right.
And then, turned into.
And that's when you started working out too, right? Like you hadn't touched a weight.
As soon as I got the job, I was like, oh my God, I better work out.
What am I gonna do? I got 10 days.
I can't look terrible on television.
Oh my gosh, we're looking at you now. You just had a glass hand or something.
Yes.
When, like, similar question to you, how much do you just, like, how much research can you do? Do you have time to do it? Do you go just completely off the script? Like,
I mean, we just do the normal research too. I mean, as much as we can obviously find out beforehand is always good. If any notes come down, obviously Mark Kolpak, of course, is huge in this, just because I've worked with Mark before with Heroes. So he was so helpful. I mean, he's always helpful because he gives us everything I need to know. And he's so big with the Marvel, like he knows everything, you know.
Yeah, who does the VFX. So
so with having the VFX with him, it definitely plays such a huge part, you know, because he gives me such great notes, great pictures, great everything. It was difficult to get a lot of stuff because everything's so private and quiet, like you can't have a lot of stuff. So what we get from him, or what we got from him, I should say, in the very beginning was huge, like honestly huge.
Because so with Mark being visual effects, that's all this stuff that, you know, is the superhero-y elements that we can't do in real life, like the superpowers. Mark is in the prep meeting, so he at least kind of has 10, 12 days to know what is coming, whereas you guys are on set the whole time, so you're kind of presumably getting messages as we're filming something else. And then did you guys do a practice of like I mean, have you ever made someone look like stone before?
When we can practice, we'll practice in the trailer on each other, or you know, they'll bring us somebody to practice on if we've got the time to do it. But we always play with color no matter what, you know, trying to figure out what exactly we're going to do. You know, can't just do it by photos. We usually try to practice no matter what, to some degree, you know, however much time we get. That's a whole nother question. But
and do you know, school for that? Like, does makeup school teach you?
Honestly, I mean, at least in my career, the majority of makeup artists in this business, I mean, I feel like girls nowadays, or I shouldn't say girls, it could be guys too, but the majority of makeup artists do go to school now, where back in my day, yeah, we took classes and courses, but it wasn't a huge thing to go to school for. We kind of learned our trade by helping one another learn, which hands-on to me is the best way in this business, because like that, you get thrown things right and left and you just have to just do it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I've learned most of my stuff, is just by having to like get out there and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Which I think is a great tool, honestly. Like the more you're thrown stuff on things like this, the better you get at it, you know? It just, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking when they're like rolling and you're like, hold on, you know? You know, but I mean, if nobody's saying it doesn't look good, then you're great, right? So, but yeah, we do with things like this. Obviously, this is such a big deal. I mean, obviously we practice as much as we can. So, yeah.
Well, and it's just a lot of different kind of elements that you had to make stick to Brian, or like,
I mean, honestly, again, there were so many things I wanted to do with Brian as he became more of a character and we had him more. I wanted to, you know, I would reach out to him like, I want to do this, we're going to do that, you know, and then, you know, like that, they'd come down and go, well, no, Mark's going to do it, we're not going to do it with makeup. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, I want to do it. You know what I mean? No. So that was a bummer, because now I really love like creating and doing his character, now that I know his character and we get along and everything's flowing and we got our stuff figured out and I'm like having a good time and they want to take it away. I'm like, so yeah, so there's that. But you know, I mean,
how did you get into the business? What was your sort of,
you know, totally by accident. It's funny, that's the one question I get asked the most, but totally by accident. I was working at a glamour photography studio, if you can believe that, with a bunch of girlfriends.
Wow.
And now every one of us is in the business as a pro makeup artist, if you can believe it. I mean, I'm not kidding you. At least I think if I could count 6 to 7 of us. So totally by mistake. Some girl came working with me and she pulled me out of there when I was very young and said, do you want to come work on a show? It's a non-union show. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, you can come do makeup. I'm like, on a TV show? What? And so she pulled me and I went and did it. And she's like, I'll teach you everything. And that was it. That was it.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Like, that's the majority of people in our business though. I mean, maybe, I mean, obviously not for actors so much, but I'm saying it with crew. Yeah. So many people are like, I don't even know how I got here. I'm just here, you know? So
an apprenticeship.
Yeah, I think it is a true apprenticeship. When you say glamour, because this is a joke that Elizabeth and I have had
yeah, we do need to,
and we should clarify.
For our British viewers, yes, because so this is an aside and it's not what we're here for, but just very quickly, Zach would tell me, we were talking about glamour pictures and he was saying that he'd had glamour shots and he asked me if I'd ever had any.
I feel like a lot of kids like they well, at least
like Olin Mills
glamour shots like JC Penney, like you go in and you're in the studio.
Yeah, okay, so in America it's, you know, like a, what is it, like an old-fashioned filter, wasn't it, like a blowy outy, like
ours used to be pretty elaborate back in the day. In the 80s it was like glamour photography studio,
like
you would make people pin up their hair, backgrounds, the whole thing.
The Laura Ashley dresses for all my sisters. The
glow, all of that. So in England, a glamour shot is a topless photo, and they were in like glamour models were topless women models. Like, so he was like, you know,
like, all the time.
And I was like, no. He went, no, I had them. We all do it as kids. I was like, kids. Anyway, so if you are listening from England, glamour is like a fancy photo shoot.
We should clarify.
Fully closed.
Photo studio. Got it. Okay.
That's funny.
I know. Talking about photo studios, kind of a link. Did you, just thinking about Mark Kolpak, Brian, and all the kind of visual effects that come with a character like Carl Creel, did they body scan you? How was that?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I was gonna, when Wendy was talking, I was just kind of thinking through like the beginning of my character and how all this happened, and that popped in my head. I think it was the first week I was there. One of the first things I did was, or maybe the first day, Kolpak came and got me, and he put me on like a spinning pedestal in just my tidy whities, and
happy birthday. Talking about glamour shots.
Glamour shot.
Like,
yeah. It's funny because that's what he told me. He said, "Hey, Brian, we're gonna go do your glamour shot now." So, anyways, so on the spinning pedestal that just moved around, I stood still, hands out, and it just spun really slow with cameras all around.
Pretty cool, right?
Oh, it was so cool. It took about 40 minutes, I think, 45 minutes, but there were
one spin around?
Yeah, it goes super slow because all these cameras are capturing every angle.
Movement. Yeah.
Every like just crevice and shape of your body. So it took about 40 minutes to do this full rotation. And then Kolpak is then able to take all those images and basically 3D print me. I mean, he could literally 3D print my entire body, and that's what they use to, with the tracking dots and all that, to then do all these special effects. And what's really cool is, and I feel so like just lucky and blessed to have gotten this type of character on this particular show, simply for the fact that I know one of the reasons or at least I've been told that I wasn't on as much as they would like is because my character is very expensive to do.
Right.
But I'm very glad that the special effects that we did get to do, because of the budget and the size and scope of the show, just looked so badass.
So good.
I mean,
that's really great.
They just made my character, they made me look so much more badass than I actually am. I mean, it just, what I mean? It was really cool because, as you're acting and we're shooting the episode, and, I know in my head, okay, I'm supposed to, I'm touching this and I'm going to turn into concrete, but, obviously I don't see that. Yeah. So then when I get to actually watch the episode, I'm blown away. I'm just like, oh my God, that is so sick. It's
just
really
now
cool.
You held a piece of bark, I think, and it turned your whole torso into looking like a tree.
Yes.
And that's such a wonderful thing about this character, is that you get those very emotional, kind of heartfelt moments. It's just very still. It's you sitting down and kind of feeling at peace for a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of unusual for a villain, and is something that we're able to do on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., having so much time, is, like you say, kind of take it beyond that, just a 2D villain, and into kind of a full character.
Yeah.
And don't you remember his character got leaked out in the beginning? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Guster's remembering that.
Yeah.
The paparazzi got pictures of him from on top of a building.
Yeah.
And they had outed his character, remember? And I don't know if it was that afternoon we saw it posted, remember? We were we had no idea. And then, it was like this whole thing that he had gotten outed before they had even announced him. So we were like, oh my God.
I know.
How did they know?
Time.
Did you have some part of you painted?
Yeah, so I was
he was painted.
Yeah, I was sitting, it was when we were downtown, Los Angeles, and we were shooting that scene in the Fandom courtyard. It was me, Simon, and oh geez.
Oh,
I know who else was out there,
right?
It was Nick. I was chasing Nick.
Oh, that's right. It was Nick.
Nick shoots that bullet at me, but it was prior to that. You had painted my arm blue, and we were sitting out. I was sitting in a cast chair outside.
He was in a cast chair getting touched up, and the picture is just straight down on his head of us touching up. And we were in shock. I remember we were like, holy crap.
Yeah, and there was speculation. It was like when it got posted, it was like, oh my gosh, new villain on the scene of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is it they thought I was a Cree. first.
Oh,
and
sure.
then it was like, oh,
That's
maybe
right.
it's this character, maybe it's this character, maybe it's Carl Creel, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's funny.
Cool to see
It was, you know, it was really cool to see when my character did show up, just how many people love this character, you know, that really love from the comics. And they're like, oh my God, this character's now on AOS. This series is getting so good. It was neat. It was neat to see.
That's awesome. What a cool, you know, I feel like as actors, I personally have done a few jobs that people just couldn't really care less about. Nobody ends up watching. Oh, yeah. I've hardly seen it, you know, and you go, well, that was fun, but, and then you get to be on something. And I mean, it's why I'm doing a YouTube and a podcast about it, is that there's this like joy of, oh my gosh, this character, I love it. I wonder what they're going to do with it, and how's it going to look. And there's just such a passion there.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's just the Marvel world is just ever expanding now, and it's so big, and there's so many people that just love this universe, and you feel connected to a lot of people because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I told you know, all the guys, you know, that created the show, I told them every time we had a conversation, I was like, dude, I will play Carl Creel for the rest of my career and just ride this off into the sunset. I love this character so much. You know, if you let me keep writing, I'll play it. Bring me 70, I'll keep pumping iron, 70 years old with a walker playing Creel. I don't care.
This is perfect. You were swinging a ball around that you're turning into gold. What are you turning?
Like brass, I think.
Brass, yeah.
Arushi in the chat was asking, in terms of stunts, you have so many.
Yeah.
How many of them were you, or did you have a double, or how did that work?
Yeah, we did have a double, but I did the majority.
Yeah, he did most of it, I think.
Yeah, I did the majority of all of it. I think the only stunt I didn't do was when we were downtown, that Fandom set up, and Antal, who has stunt doubled me on several things, Teen Wolf, and a couple other shows. He actually got hired to stunt double me on AOS, and the only stunt I think I didn't do was when I ran through that big glass door chasing Nick.
Oh, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, because remember, he got all tore up. Yeah. So, so yeah, that was the only stunt I did. I did pretty much everything else, which was really great because I love the physicality of this guy. So to be able to get to do all those stunts was super fun. And what's interesting enough about that particular scene that you're talking about, Zach, that ball and chain, they wrote that in because that's what he uses as his weapon in the comics.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
So cool.
Yeah, is a ball and chain.
Can't do that in public these days. You cannot.
Yeah.
No, don't worry, it doesn't go through.
Yeah.
But you know, a sneeze is meant to be like when a cool truth drops in. So there's a cool truth for you.
Very cool truth.
Right.
When you know that when Carl Creel goes gold, quit it. It's such like compliments. Was that you that painted? Was that you? Did you?
I think I painted him gold. I mean, honestly, I did 90% of it. I did pretty much everything for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one that I solely was like, don't touch Brian. He's fine. Yeah, there's, I was like, don't take this one away from me, because I loved the character just as much as he did. And again, we clicked. We did well together. So I just was like, don't take him away. I really like it. This is super fun to like try to create the things that he would touch, like, what would be. So honestly, I did do most of his stuff. I feel like maybe there was one small short time I didn't do something. I don't remember what that might have been, but yeah.
Did they film? So just for that little section, Carl Creel has got hold of a ball and chain that kind of looks like brass, and then the gold kind of brass color goes all the way up your arm. Did they film that with no color, and then you go get your arm painted and then film it with color, and then
usually they do it in those sequences, but I don't remember how we did it for this particular one. Usually that's what they'll do, or at least, again, this going back to Heroes again, but that's like the first time I learned all this stuff with Mark. But that's how they used to always do the process, is you'd do a blank, then you would do the actual color or prosthetic, then what we used to do is we would take it off sometimes too, or we would shoot it with the prosthetic and the color, and then take it off so that there was a marking of where it sat. So we would do different levels. But I feel like with agents, some of those layers disappeared. I can remember Mark going, "Oh no, you don't need to do that," on several occasions. And I'm like, "But we used to do that." He's like, "Yeah, we don't have to do that anymore." So somehow some layers get cut. So I think we colored him maybe just his hand that day, and they did the rest up the arm. Whereas there were some times where I'd had to color his arm completely or do a prosthetic. Like, it just depends on how far he can take it for whatever reason, whatever his level is, with that, I'm not sure, but.
Right.
One of the coolest scenes about that I love about any episode I did, Wendy did the whole thing. It was when I was shirtless in the warehouse. I think it was this episode where I was up against that kind of cinder block wall, and she had painted that whole like cinder block facade on my chest and my abs, arms.
Yeah, he had all.
Yeah, you were hidden, right?
Yeah, I was hidden in that cinder block wall. That was all her. She painted that and all of that on me.
Yeah, it was all, that was all. And I think that if I remember correctly, I think we did that all just like with sponge, the sponge technique. It wasn't, I don't even know if I used my airbrush, which is my preferred method for most things, but
you just wanted to touch me.
I mean, again,
I just kind of
use
use my tongue and I like my face a bunch.
That's the tongue method.
How long does that take? I mean, not the tongue method, but like the tongue method, like head to toe.
Elizabeth, how long does that take? It takes as long as I want it to take.
Like, I think you need a couple days.
I'm like, I think I need an hour with Brian. I'm like, I need like an hour with Brian. No, honestly, like, as long as we can always get, because that's the truth. Like, as long as, if they can give me I will take every second. Because I want it to look good. The rushing makes me crazy, but that's television. Like, we obviously know that our time is always very limited. But when you're doing something like that, like I'm creating a character for an actor, and I want him to love what he looks like and feel his part, and I want it to look good because my name's on it. I'm like, I want the time. Give me the time, guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, usually, if we asked for it, we would get it. Like, if it was something important, obviously. But there was a lot of times where they were like, I'm like, oh my God, we got to walk out and eat.
That rush too led to the one and only mistake that I just would bag on Wendy the rest of the time I was on.
He still bags on me for this.
My famous line to her, after this happened, as soon as I sat down in the chair from that point forward, I was like, the clippers go down, damn it.
And he's like, don't touch me. Don't touch me with those clippers.
They had me wear like stubble beard, right? And it was a certain length every time. Well, for her to get that, she would turn the clippers up, and go down. Well, this one time, because she was rushed for time, she goes, wah, and it was like bald. And it was so like off. And I was like, Wendy, you have to go down. She was like, oh shit. So
I know, he still gives me stuff for that today. We make jokes about it all the time.
Yeah. So from that point on, the moment I sat down in the chair, I'm like, the clippers go down.
What did you do?
Did you blot it in?
Yeah.
I blotted it in. But it was funny because there's one spot like on my sideburn that was just completely bald and it was really white there. And then there was like fake hair.
Make mistakes, Brian.
Yes, if you could make someone look like a wall, you can paint in a bit of beard.
That's right.
Yeah, well, in my defense, if anybody's looking at my beard and not Brian, something's wrong, right? I mean, like, if you're not noticing Brian and you're looking at that, so I felt like I was pretty safe. I'm like, I'm safe, I'm good. Nobody's looking at that.
That's right.
It was a good test.
It was a great test. Brian, how do you, because you're in fantastic shape, and for a character like this, that you're playing a super villain, how do you stay in great shape? Because I know on your Instagram, you share a lot of motivation, and I feel like both of you guys need a podcast and a YouTube and everything.
I want that.
And also, you're both so into fitness, but like, how do
because we've just been doing only cheat meals, and it's not working.
I feel like we've got most of it, yeah. Because cheat meals are allowed.
They're allowed.
It's just how many you have. Yeah. But on a show like this, like, did you feel the pressure to I don't know, like stay in shape between episodes in case they give you a call, or how do you?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, so I was an athlete growing up, and I just kind of fell in love with fitness, period. So I've always tried to, be in shape, and I'm always active and involved in some type of athletic event. Now I do CrossFit. I just like to feel in shape. But there was definitely, like, when I got this character, like when I knew who he was, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like, I need to step this up a little bit. Like, this dude
No.
is jacked. But no, it all comes, for me, look, it just all comes down to, if I don't get to the gym and keep myself in shape, I don't feel like I'm functioning 100% in any other capacity in my life. It's just how it is for me. I don't like who I am as a father. I don't like who I am as a husband, just because I get a great deal of one, stress relief, and two, just a sense of accomplishment and enjoyment out of my workouts and staying healthy. And really, honestly, there's been so many points in my life where, especially as actors, everybody has, where you have a lot of money and you have no money, and you have a lot of money, you have no money, or whatever other circumstances going on. None of that matters if your health is failing.
Yes.
It just doesn't. And if you have a lot of money, but your health sucks, it doesn't matter. And for me, I just always kind of keep this thing. I grew up, really where it stems mentally is, I grew up with a handicapped sister who passed away about 9 years ago. And I just always thought, like, we get one body. You can't buy another one. You can't. And if this is what I need to do to stay in shape so I can live as long as I possibly can to see my daughter grow up, that's easy sacrifice. Easy. So it's just about priority, really. Whatever you prioritize in your life will become important.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's such a wonderful kind of legacy for her to have too. And I'm sure you were such an inspiration to her, and she clearly is still such a massive influence and inspiration to you. And what an amazing sort of just attitude. And I think it's something too that I think a lot of people have discovered through lockdown and quarantine, everything that's happened, is, it doesn't cost any money to go for a brisk walk, or and then work it up to a run. And it's that sense of accomplishment, like you say, and a certain sense of control and a constant that you can have. I mean, I feel like our daily walks, it's not like we're benching, I don't know, 150. What do you
150? It's probably doing that with like his pinky. 150.
1,000. What's a good,
Brian's over here doing 4 1/4. Is what I was doing. But no, our walks are, I know you're doing CrossFit, but you go on a 3-minute brisk walk, or 2-mile brisk walk, Brian.
You've earned that cheat meal.
Yeah, you've earned that cheat meal.
That's right. That's right. Look, it doesn't matter what it is. I always tell people when they ask, look, if it doesn't matter if you've never worked out before or you're an exceptional athlete, and when you will attest to this, it's all about just consistency and just little changes, incremental changes. If you try and, all of a sudden go, I'm never going to have a cheat meal again, and I'm going to work out 7 days a week, and I'm going to it's just little incremental changes. And look, I have cheat meals. I love to have the occasional beer and this and that.
And donuts.
And donuts. Favorite donuts.
Wendy's getting you back now.
Donuts are my absolute favorite. And if you ever see me on Instagram, usually I don't post it every Sunday, but Sundays even my 2-year-old, she'll wake up on Sunday and I'll say, honey, it's Sunday. Do you know what day it is? She'll go, Donut Sunday.
Oh my gosh, don't. What is your Instagram? Because people need that.
Yeah, Brian Patrick Wade. Brian Patrick Wade, yeah.
I love it. And also, you guys need to follow Southern County Customs.
Southern Country Customs, yeah.
Southern Country Customs. That is Brian's other business that he's just casually
building
motorcycles and just designing and being amazing. So check that out as well. That's such brilliant advice. Because you are so good at, the hours that we keep on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just watching this episode, there was so much in it. We shot that in 12 days?
Yeah.
The amount of hours that go into a day is insane. How do you, because not everybody watching this is working on a TV show like we are. But say if you have a busy day, how do you, because you're so good at working out and making sure you get kind of health into your day, do you have any tips for how people can do that?
Honestly, there was a point where I was very overweight, and that's kind of what changed me. It was just a waking up moment for me years ago where I'm like, I can't live like this. Like, who is this? I don't even know this person. It just was kind of like a quick thing that happened. And then I was kind of at my peak for maybe a couple of years. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know. I just had a moment.
Yeah,
and
it's so hard when you're tired.
I got tired of feeling like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, again, like Brian said, it's like, I don't feel like I need to always rise above every single day, but I got to do something every day or I don't feel good. It doesn't matter. 20 minutes, a walk, a hike, an aerobic session, just something to like move our bodies, especially as I get older. I get more and more, I've gotten more and more proactive about it because I don't like that feeling of not being able to move. It's just horrible,
I mean, anytime we had stairs on a set, we'd any break or at lunch,
and that's the thing. Yeah, I'd run up and down the stairs at work, do laps around the stage. Whenever I could, I would take off. If me and Lori were doing shows on locations, I would ask her, we've got half an hour. Can I just go take a hike? If we'd be in a mountain, she'd be like, yeah, go. I mean, anytime I could like incorporate it somehow into my day, I would try to do it. I wasn't good every day, but and I'd force myself on our turnarounds to get up at 2:30 in the morning and work out if that's what I had to do. If I had to be to work at 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm like, I don't care. I'm getting up at 2:30 no matter what.
Yeah.
And a huge inspiration with this one because I talked to him about this a lot when I first met him, and he really pushed me too to just, stick with it, change up your workouts. And honestly, that's been huge, me just changing things because I was getting bored, which makes you also lazy. You have to find things that you love to do to make it fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a passion, right? Because
totally.
I feel like, and it's hard when a schedule is so full to still
so
find
hard, especially when you're not getting rest.
Yeah.
Right.
And speaking of passions, when you have an amazing Instagram page, I feel like I've been saying this wrong. Is it scones and bones, or is
Scones
it
and bones? Scones and bones. I can never find a good scone in LA, so that's kind of why I started it, because Ozzy, my little dog, is my life. And I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own scones because I love to bake and I love to cook. So I kind of just started an Instagram page, and I've kind of just been doing that on the side as something to like keep me busy throughout the time of COVID.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get it launched. I still have to do my webpage, and I'm working on some of that. But just trying to sell around here a little bit just to stick my hands in it and start getting wet. So I love cooking. It's also a good release for me. I've always loved to cook. And now with COVID, again, it's become more of a thing. I love to entertain. So I'm like, whatever, let's just do it,
It's amazing too. So going in line with this whole workout thing, right? So she would bring it to set.
Yeah.
She made it even harder. It was the best stuff. So you couldn't stay away from it. Like I had to purposely just walk by the makeup trailer, just like blinders, because you knew it was there. And she makes the best stuff.
Oh, you're sweet. Well, I mean, honestly, I do love to bake for people. I mean, obviously I love to cook for people. I mean, that's what makes it fun, right? Like,
it's amazing.
But yeah, the actors would get annoyed for sure. They're like, Wendy, stop bringing it here. Clark would be like, Wendy, don't give it to me. I don't want it.
You want it because it's so good.
Yes.
So one more time, can you just say that handle? And so it's scones with a Z.
Yeah, with a Z, and bones with a Z. So at Scones and Bones.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I tagged it on my story, so you can go there, find it through there, and yeah, let's just.
I have my email on there, so you can email me with questions, and then eventually I'll have my menu up and my website going. But right now I'm trying to reel them in.
Oh, I love it, and it's I think every week on here I get experts on in their fields, and it's so fun for us to dive into how people got to where they are. But it's also so cool when you go, oh my gosh, Brian's got this amazing motorcycle company that he's like figuring out and learning about. Like Southern Country Customs didn't exist almost like a year and 2 days ago. Didn't exist, right? And then same with Scones and Bones. It's like you're trying something new, and I feel like so often we see people that are so-called, that are experts. It's everybody can still put themselves in a position of feeling a bit uncomfortable and try something new. And, I feel like
COVID's forced us all to take steps out of our comfort zone, which is huge. I mean, I think that that's really great. I mean, you see so many people like going, oh, I'm trying this, I'm starting. I mean, we've kind of been forced to, in a way, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's been good for people, and to reconnect with home and family, and like realizing like what's really important, Absolutely. I mean, is it these hours we work, or is it the love that we have at home? I mean, we never get to be home. So it's definitely been an eye opener, at least for me anyways. I'm assuming as well for everybody else.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's what you never know what you're capable of until you just go, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. And if it's a disaster, like never mind, right? Go for it. I am going to invite, the episode's finished. I feel like I've just talked all over it, but I'm going to invite a couple people into the Zoom. Our Zoom waiting room filled up super quick. And then talking of like new side projects, I'm going to show a sneak peek of my merch website. Oh my gosh, there's
somebody wants to say hi too.
Hi, Ozzy.
I had to get in here and say hello to everybody.
This could go on for another hour. I'm so here for it. Okay, but first, before going to my website, I'm gonna bring in a couple people with questions. I'm just gonna do this and this.
Oh, who's that?
Accidentally get kicked out.
Oh.
Hello, Maya. Can you turn your? Oh, here we go.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question, but if you haven't watched season 5, episode 21, you might want to like switch the volume button off.
Might be a spoiler.
Have you seen it then?
I probably.
Okay.
Yeah. That was very kind of you.
The question is like, did you feel, as playing Carl Creel, how did you feel being betrayed by Coulson? Not Coulson, I mean Talbot. Like when he killed you.
Oh, when he absorbed me.
Or boy, going for the hard question.
Yeah, geez. I'll tell you what, that was I got a phone call saying that was going to happen in the upcoming episode. And of course, as an actor, when you get a job that you just love, you never want to see it end. It was the same with this. It was bittersweet because, one, from a character standpoint, you're like, dude, you were my boy, and then from just an actor standpoint, playing that character, man, you become so close with these people you spend so much time with, and it's such a great cast and such a great time. It was hard. It was a big, difficult pill to swallow, both from a character standpoint and just as an actor standpoint. It was hard.
Great question.
Yeah.
Hi, how do I say your name? Anais?
It's pronounced Anais.
Anais. Oh my gosh,
that's beautiful.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you have
oh my
question?
God, I'm shaking real bad right now. Yeah, I do. It's a question about season 6. Do you know the episode where you and Chloe like get high on the puffies?
Yes.
Were they actual sweets or were they props?
Yeah, they were sweets. They were like meringues. Actually, they were delicious, and I feel like
I expected them to be like the, do you know, the flying saucers with sherbet inside?
Yes. So more like a meringue than a sherbet.
Ah.
Yeah. I feel like if we had sherbets,
Thank
they
you.
would have probably sent us literally to another planet. But, that was the best episode for so many reasons. Partly what we've been saying about, you know, like Wendy and Brian, you know, being on set, there's always so much chocolate and candy around that you have to be like Brian and just not even look at the donuts. So, you know, we've been doing that for 5 years on and off, like sometimes not so successfully. And then in an episode where they go, for your job, you have to eat a ton of sugar. It was just so great. Yeah.
Yeah, twist your arm.
Twist my arm. Yeah. Eat just all, you know, willpower is out the window. Yeah, they didn't taste great, but you know, it was something. That's such a wonderful question. Thank you. Trip down memory lane. Okay, I'm going to try and share my screen. Okay, so here's a sneak peek of this merch that is going to be out on Tuesday. I'm a bit nervous I'm going to end up sharing all my computer with you, but you know, welcome in. So it's going to be 2 collections, one extra and one called Rest Day. Extra is a bit of me. So we've got like leopard print, we've got like a lemon print, then we've got, I say anyway a lot, so we've got an anyway print, and then one that's like our blue skies ahead. And then for the days when you're maybe not feeling quite so extra and you need a bit of a rest and restore day.
Great.
Oh, good. Here's our rest and restore. So it's just a bit more chill, you know. Basically, this all came. Oh no, how do I do that? This all came because Zach was like, not everybody, because I just feel like leopard is. I thought this was
everybody's choice.
Yeah, I was like, a rest day for sure. Like, this is chilled. And he said, no, I think we need, and I do love it. So those are our 2 collections. It's going to be going live on Tuesday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, so you guys can look as good as us or be more plain, which is also great.
And if you zoom in closely, you can see our tax return here on the screen. It's in the bottom left.
Yeah. I mean, that could have gone a very different way. I can't quite believe I managed to pull that off. Well, we'll get some tweet saying this is her address, but you know, that's fine. Brian and Wendy, this was just so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. So great to see you guys.
So great. Thanks for having me on. Wind, it's so good to see you.
I know, you too. Give kisses to that family of yours.
I will.
Yes, and so everybody go and check out Brian Patrick Wade on Instagram, and also Southern Country Customs on Instagram, and then Wendy Lynn Makeup.
Yes.
On Instagram and Twitter, and then Scones and Bones on Instagram with Z.
Thank you.
Go to my Instagram stories and you can find it. And let's get all the followers up for Southern Country Customs and Scones and Bones, because we've got to support the side hustle too, like the passion projects.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Smash those like buttons.
Hit subscribe, like swipe up. Okay, it's time to go. Thank you, Maya and Anay, sorry, for your questions. They were such brilliant questions. Thank you for being here. I know it can be a bit scary. You guys were amazing. Okay, I'm going to admit the waiting room, it gets crazy and a bit chaotic. So we'll just wave and say hey for a couple minutes, and then I'll say goodbye and I'll end it. But thank you for being here. Okay, my favorite part.
Period of 280.
Here we go.
Hi.
Okay, I'm gonna admit.
Hello, everybody. guys.
Everyone.
Hi, Elizabeth. Isaac. You. How's Maggie?
Brian.
Everybody.
Hello.
Great live stream.
Thank you.
Hello.
It's kind of strange seeing you smile so much, but
Oh my
up
God.
there.
It's
Okay.
fun.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Actually, Jeff Ward. So
Hi. He is so cute. I love her.
Oh my God. Love you.
So many people.
Wow.
Wow. I see so many fans.
Kevin.